All right, it is 6:30. We will call our June council meeting to order at this time. Welcome to those in attendance, those watching at home, and to the common council. At this time, we will have the clerk call the roll.
Bry,
Here.
Schley,
Here.
Kotarabic, here. Beeman,
Here.
Sakala,
Here.
Bolt,
Here.
Cummings, Vanderkin,
Here.
Reckelberg,
Here.
Sikowitz,
Here.
9 present.
And Alderman Cummings should be on his way. He's just finished flag football, so he might walk in during the pledge. With that, could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And if you could remain standing after that for a prayer by our council president, Eric Sidkowitz. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, you are the great creator that we all rely upon, whether we acknowledge it or not. You have set all these marvelous things into motion at creation. As caretakers of the land, we ask that your blessing be on the families who provide food for our nation and those who provide for the farmers. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Appropriate prayer for June Dairy Month. That is correct. All right, we have 2 presentations this evening. The first one is the clerk administering the oath of office and badge pinning for Detective Sergeant Eric Kowalski. So Detective Sergeant Kowalski, if you and your family would like to come on up, and any other members of the Manitowoc Police Department, if you could line up over here, we will do the swearing in.
The gang to roll up. Oh, Molly too. Whenever you're ready, please raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Eric Kowalski,
I, Eric Kowalski,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Detective Sergeant for the City of Manitowoc
of Detective Sergeant for the City of Manitowoc
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Can I collect your signature just on that top line, please? Pardon me.
All right. All right, we have one proclamation this evening. We don't have any celebrations this month for Juneteenth like we had in years past, but since it falls actually on today of the council meeting, I thought it would be appropriate to read the proclamation for Juneteenth, so I will do that. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas slaves were not set free in the Confederacy until the Union Army arrived in Galveston, Texas on June 19th, General Gordon Granger announced that the slaves in Texas were free by order of the President of the United States. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. Whereas Emancipation Day observations are held on different days in different states in the South and Southwest and in other parts of the nation, and there is currently a movement to have Juneteenth recognized at the national level, which it now is. Whereas Juneteenth is an opportunity to not only celebrate, but also to speak out against inequalities that endure today. And whereas Juneteenth is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the lives and contributions of unsung African Americans and celebrate the resiliency and the vibrancy of African Americans. Whereas today, Juneteenth commemorates African American freedom and emphasizes education and achievement, it is a time for reflection and rejoicing. It is a time for assessment, self-improvement, and for planning the future, signifying a level of maturity and dignity in America long overdue. Whereas the City of Manitowoc is proud that Congress approved today as a federal national holiday and that President Joe Biden signed it into law on Thursday, June 17th, 2021. Now therefore, I, Justin Nichols, Mayor of the City of Manitowoc, hereby proclaim and recognize June 19th today, 2023, as Juneteenth in the City of Manitowoc, and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and city. Thank you. Right. Those are the proclamations for this evening. And presentations, we will have no public hearings, public input, if there's anyone from the public interested in speaking on anything germane to the business of the City of Manitowoc. Since we have one here. Not technically even, you're an employee of the city technically, so yeah. We will close public input. Well, that changed. It's all on you. Oh, congratulations, Mackenzie. You are the camera.
She's the new mayor.
Yeah, that's. Oh, shucks. Let's see here. Appointments. I have a couple of appointments to pass along here. Crime Prevention, Amy Shep. Police and Fire Commission, Al Shima in place of Tom Baer. Brownfields Advisory, James Lemerond, Dave Dietrich, Mike Huck, and Terry Fox. Zoning Board of Appeals, Howie Zimmerman, Gene Wakefield, Don Orth, and Joe Marotic, and the Library Board, Michelle Donna for reappointment, and Steph Lambert. I would look for a motion to approve the appointments.
Move to approve the appointments.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Alderwoman Cotter Abeck.
Just based on the document we were provided, is Brittany Boyer also going to be assigned to the Crime Prevention Committee?
Oh, yes, that's right. I apologize. Oh, yeah, I added that. Yes, Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for catching that. I was going off my initial list and clerk's office caught it and you did. Thank you. Yes.
And I have nothing
adding that
further.
one to the
Thank you.
list as well, if that's okay with your motion, Alderman Sitkowitz.
Yeah, it was based on the
Yeah,
document.
thank you. I appreciate it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, I look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We'll move then to Committee of the Whole and Council President Eric Sitkowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have 4 documents tonight. 3 we have recommendations for, and 1 we'll have discussion on.
Sounds good.
Document 518 is a legal service agreement between the City of Manitowoc and Attorney Joseph D. Thurmer for prosecuting services. Committee returns same, recommending to approve the agreement.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 519 is a request from Pet Skull Brewing to amend the original approved road closure of North 11th Street on June 24th to include June 23rd. Committee returns same, recommending approval.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Nothing, Alderman Bryan? How you're on any CD covers or?
Rock on this Saturday
I'm
night.
s-
It's rock 'em.
You got an extra day to rock on here now on the streets. and
rock, let's
Just
just say
making
that.
sure.
Yes, we'll be good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 526 is a settlement agreement between Lowe's Home Center LLC and the City of Manitowoc regarding assessed property value and property tax for the tax years 2019, 2020, and 2022. This is absent a recommendation.
Council, Alderman Siklowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this was just a settlement agreement that came forward from the attorneys that have been dealing with the Lowe's Home Center LLC in the city of Manitowoc. I understand that it is time sensitive, but other than the settlement, there really wasn't an updated provided to council or finance after speaking with Alder Bry. So if there could be one provided, because I guess it is time sensitive, but.
Certainly.
Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, okay, certainly. Thank you, Mr. President. Basically, the lawsuits cost a lot of money, and a lawsuit went through Lowe's versus Delavan at the Supreme Court level, came back very favorable to municipalities, saying that the way that Lowe's was sort of attacking different municipalities and their property assessment can't do that. Okay, they're called dark stores. There's a legal mumbo jumbo you don't need to worry about. Very favorable to us. It forced Lowe's to reassess and reevaluate their position. Did they want to spend a lot of money on lawsuits going forward, fighting what they believed to be a losing hand? They did not, so they, I believe, approached us about settlement. Our attorneys obviously would just prefer to walk away from this and say, you don't, just go based on our assessment numbers, and we don't owe you any money, and however, Lowe's, being an intelligent opposite party, understands we would have to spend money to win this lawsuit. We have to spend money on expert fees and attorneys. And so that number that you see on the settlement agreement, approximately $21,900, not coincidentally, that's somewhere around what we might need to spend to get this to a place where we can win this suit. So this is sort of the walk away, we're happy, they're happy, we don't love it, they don't love it, but that's what's going on here, so.
Okay, thank you. So that's an update on the lawsuit with Lowe's. So there's a settlement agreement in front of us. So in order to proceed, I would need a recommendation from the committee of the whole.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to adopt the recommendation of settling with Lowe's.
Okay, there's a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Zakala. Okay, discussion on the motion? Alder Bry?
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess, Eric, I guess, and it's hard to judge, I guess, from year to year, but Lowe's has been, and other, I guess, dark stores have been challenging assessments here in the city and statewide for many, many years. With that court case being ruled, I guess, in municipalities' favor, do you think, in, I guess, in your opinion, we're going to continue to see this? Because even though, like you said, the municipalities have, quote, the upper hand right now in a sense, it seems like Lowe's, in this case, figured out that, yeah, if we decide to go after them, we can get this. So is it gonna be next year again with a lawsuit potentially, and then see, well, there's $22,000 in legal fees, we'll settle for that? I guess I see this as a continuing rolling ball.
An excellent question, Alder Bright. I first of all, no, I don't believe that that's going to happen, not on this specific issue, not in this specific way. In this settlement agreement also locks in an agreed upon amount for 2024, so we're gonna have a little bit of time specifically from Lowe's. Secondly, this stuff costs a lot of money on their end. In order to prevail on these suits, they also have to hire experts. They also have to hire attorneys. And so if they're just getting what we call nuisance value, I know $21,000 doesn't sound like a lot, or sounds like a lot, but it's actually, in a case like this, it's just nuisance value. They're not going to be filing claims over that. Now, they may take other approaches. They may try to attack assessments in other ways. I can't predict the future, but they're not going to be as reliant on dark store comparisons in the future.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Alder Bry. Is there any further discussion? Alder Cummings?
Yep, thank you, Mr. President, by the way. Just looking at this, and I could be looking at it wrong, but what was their total liability? Like, we're settling on the $21,913. What was it, I guess? Maybe, and I probably missed it,
Yeah, Chris, go ahead, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so what they were asking for wasn't just an amount, it wasn't just a specific amount, but also an amount in perpetuity. So what they wanted to do, they asked the court on two different levels. Number one, they were saying, all right, as far back as, I mean, some of these actually were 2017, but I think we wiped them out with this. But some of these numbers, they were asking the court to reduce what we assessed as half value So they're getting half back for each of those years, somewhere a little bit different proportionally. But then going forward, that our city assessors would have to use these dark stores as comparisons when they were evaluating going forward. So this is tens of thousands of dollars a year potentially.
Okay.
I'm just curious, Alderman Cummings, are you asking what their value was?
Yeah, essentially, because like,
Yeah, so,
unless I'm looking at this wrong, so we're settling for the taxes to be 21,913, right?
No, that's a
Or
refund.
that's the refund amount.
the
Okay.
refund, right?
What would have the refund been without this?
Their assessed, their total value right now, according to the assessor's records, is $5.7 million. So they're basically saying, all right, we're gonna, that's where it's assessed now, but they were asking to be assessed at $3 million, 2.5, whatever. So this is the negotiated, this is the where
Gotcha.
we're saying, all right, this is where the fair market value would be. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, now it's making more sense.
I don't know the
I guess-
number of what
Yeah.
that difference would be, because you
Yep.
have to calculate, but.
I guess I was looking at this slightly in a different way.
Yeah.
But
Anything further,
that's
Alder
it.
Cummings?
That's it, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion? Aye. And opposed? Okay, it passes, so.
We'll bring it to the council now, too.
Bring it to the
for-
council.
Yeah, council, your pleasure on this report.
Well, we'll move to adopt the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 529 is the report of the Special Events Committee for a variety of events subject to council action. Committee returns same, recommending approval.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Council President Sitkowitz?
That completes our business. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Alderman Jim Bry is chair.
Clerk has the documents.
That was my fault, sorry.
We have document 486, which is an ordinance amending Manitowoc Municipal Code, section 11.110, mobile food vendors, and 11.130, direct sellers and direct purchasers. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt as amended at committee.
Council, your pleasure on this ordinance.
Move for the adoption of the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, just quickly, the Finance Committee discussed this after Brian from Adam Tagan from Community Development brought this as a potential concern. In the past, we have looked at this, that events that are sponsored, I should say, approved by the city of Manitowoc, there's been reports of, I guess, people that have not paid or been part of that group to come in and do vending services and stuff. And I think the Finance Committee is in full agreement that that shouldn't be allowed in an approved event, but we also agree, though, that it's all right to do that outside the squared circle, for lack of a better term, where their event ends and begins, they can still vend outside that perimeter. So that's what the ordinance actually says.
Thank you for that clarification or update, yes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 514 is a memorandum of understanding with the Wisconsin Elections Commission to apply for the 2023 absentee ballot envelope subgrant program. Committee returns same, recommending to enter into the MOU with the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 515 is a renewal agreement with DocuSign. Committee returns same, recommending to enter into the agreement.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 517 is a request from Hala LLC for a permanent extension of premise for the sale of liquor and/or beer in the front parking lot bordered by 6th and Maritime. Committee returns same, recommending to approve the request for the permanent extension of premise.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 527 is a resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move for the adoption of the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Alderman Bry.
I guess if there's any questions, we do have Rob Michelson, the Water Systems Manager from Manitowoc Public Utilities, here to address any questions from the common council members tonight, like Alderman. So if there's not,
Here's your chance, folks. Ask why your water bills are so high. Just kidding. Yeah, not when you're watering the grass every day because lack of rain. Any questions? All right, then all those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Bry?
That's all I have right now, but normally our next scheduled meeting would be the first Tuesday in July, which there happens to be a big birthday that day. So we'll be postponing, potentially tentatively scheduled for the following week on July 11th at 5:30 PM here in the Common Council chambers. That's all I have now, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move then to the Personnel Committee, and Alderman Bill Schley is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The clerk has the documents.
Document 465 is a request to renew Concordia University Agreement Partnership. Committee returns same, recommending approval.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move to accept the request.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 532 is a resolution for revisions to Article 9, Article 10, and Article 14 of the Employee Policy Manual, June 2023 updates. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move to accept the resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 533 is a resolution for revisions to Employee Benefits and Compensation Policy. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move to accept the resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Schley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution basically is going to codify benefits and compensation policy for the city. It's mostly for clarification, but it's also bringing the city up to date and making us competitive with our neighbors so that we don't keep hemorrhaging employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Schley. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 534 is a resolution to reclassify the fire rescue administrative positions on the compensation plan structure. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move to accept the resolution.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 535 is a resolution to increase pay rate for the Raw West Art Museum Visitor Services Clerk position on the compensation plan structure. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move to accept the resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Schley.
Once again, we are taking action to bring this position at the RAR to a level where we can maintain the employees. It's just a matter of bringing it up to date.
Sounds good. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 536 is a resolution for a one-time exception to exceed 115% of PTO allocation for City of Manitowoc employee. Committee returns same, recommending to adopt the resolution.
Council, your pleasure on this resolution.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Schley.
In this particular situation, we are moving to exceed 115% of PTO, since this is a situation where we would not be able to keep some city services, such as the Aquatic Center, operating without this person. So that's why we're doing it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Schley?
Nothing at this time, and actually, nothing up to our next meeting. So at the present time, our meeting would be scheduled for July 10th, but it looks like we're going to be not holding a meeting in July. So unless something big comes along, we'll see you in August. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll move to the Public Infrastructure Committee, and Alderman Steve Sakala is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The clerk has our documents.
Document 523 is a request for an easement with Wisconsin Public Services to proceed with repairs, maintenance, and reconstruction of the gas line for the property located at 3001 South 10th Street in the City of Manitowoc. Committee returns same, recommending to approve the request.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move to approve the request, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Alderman Sakala.
Yes, I just wanted to, we all read the letter and everything, before we came here. I just wanted to thank the city attorney for getting this out in a timely manner for all of us on this, very time-pressed issue. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 525 is a report of Board of Public Works of June 19th, 2023 of bids received for River Point Fill, Project WO 2322. Committee returned same, recommending to award to low bidder Advanced Construction in the amount of $202,964.50.
Council pleasure on this report.
Move to approve the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 537 is a report of revised Project WS 232 River Point Development Phase 2 bid tab. Committee returned same, recommending to approve the additional award of adding alternatives A2, A4, and A5 at a total cost of $166,165.
Council pleasure on this report.
Move to approve the report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Sakala?
No, Mr. Mayor, that concludes our business with, and with July's meeting. I don't have one scheduled, so August 2nd would be the next scheduled PI meeting.
Sounds good. July might be light, huh? All right. We'll move then to the Public Safety Committee, and Alderman Mike Cummings is chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the clerk has the documents.
We have document 502, which is ordinance for no parking on North 9th Street adjacent to the McMillan and Pitts Construction Company driveway for the distance of one parking stall. Committee returns same to adopt as amended at committee.
Council pleasure on this ordinance.
To approve the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Alderman Cummings.
Yeah, with this, this is just a good example of, we had McMillan and Pitts reach out to us. They had a concern, which is also obviously a safety concern, and then came with a resolution. And obviously, we talked about it and decided to adopt it. So I just wanted to highlight, this is just a good way where the community came to us with something, with a solution. It made sense, so we did it. And hopefully, we see that more in the future, where people witness stuff, see stuff, and if it affects them, they come here and hopefully get it changed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 543 is a request to set up Tom Drill's Hut on Quay Street for a Christmas in July fundraiser. Committee returns same, recommending to approve the request.
Council pleasure on this report.
To approve the request, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. We did have some staff discussion this morning just about the location, if we could have an approval on the location or an idea. There was some concern about setting it up at number 3, just
Yeah.
because of traffic in summer and everything. People going into the road at that I know it's probably the best visibly, but with that intersection, it's just not safe at all to have people in the roadway, even parking spots. Usually those parking spots are full. So we just wanted to make sure that council was okay that 3 would not be on the table for consideration.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this did not actually go to a committee. It came after it. It was just via a request. The police chief did actually provide a recommendation in the email to exclude number 3, and I would agree with that. So I think after reading it with locations 1 and 2, whichever one works best, I think we'd be okay to approve that, but not number 3.
Perfect. As long as that's an understanding of everyone? Good. Okay. Thank you. Then any further discussion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else, Alderman Cummings?
That concludes our business today, Mr. Mayor. As of right now, I do have a meeting scheduled for July 10th at 5:30. If that does not fill up, then I'd be open to canceling. But at this moment, public safety's on.
Sounds good. Thank you. Then we will take the Plan Commission document up.
All right, we have document 453, Hartfield request to purchase city-owned land between Broadway and Conroe Streets, part of lots 2, 3, and 4, block 14, subdivision of Manitowoc Rapids, parcel 450-014-010. Plan Commission returns same, recommending proceeding with the sale of the approximate .23 acre parcel with the attorney's office instructed to proceed with all facets of the sale and Mr. Hartfield paying for any of the following costs: drafting a legal description, survey costs, recording costs, and closing costs.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Anything else for the good of the order? Not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Since the day that we met, you took the breath out of my lungs, can't even fight it. And all of the words out of my mouth without even trying. And